This is Radio Free Cybertron, episode 910. I am Brian Kilby. Radio Free Cybertron is the world's first and oldest toy and action figure podcast since 1999. With me this week, we have Diecast.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Diecast. We have Matt.
Hello.
Don.
Hi, all.
John.
Yo.
Rob.
Hello.
And Chris.
Why am I last?
You're not. So as we record this, like for podcast listeners, they do or don't know that we can see each other, but I can't see you or Rob. And I thought of Rob first.
Wow.
So there you go. Hey, so here in the U.S., we're a week away from Thanksgiving. I don't think Thanksgiving's not going to impact our show production for next week. It hasn't in years. But, you know, next week we do have Black Friday. Actually, as we were complaining during pre-show, Black Friday is like a month now. But there are all sorts of toys that will be available at rock bottom prices. So I implore you, I beg you, pick up a toy, drop it in a box. Make the difference in a child's life this holiday season. If you're watching the video, and I posted this in my Blue Sky into the TF Radio Twitter, I have the Elf on the Shelf Warmer Christmas tree up. The auxiliary tree is the HasLab Dragonfly that's connected to it with lights and everything. So as I pick up toys to donate this year, and as toys come in, I think all what we have here, I think came from John Triclops. As people also send things in, I'll add them here. But please, there are so many kids out there who are going without. Just pick up something, go to Walmart, pick up something off the shelf, preferably a shelf-warming toy, because kids don't care. They just want to play with something. Clear the aisles of toys that you don't want and other collectors don't want. Get those off the shelf. Help out a kid.
If you're frustrated right now and feel like there's nothing you can do about anything, this is some concrete good you can do for somebody right now.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely. Matt, just an epic drop off, it looked like.
An entire shopping cart full.
Yeah.
I made good use of my 15% off one entire order at Ollie's.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Hey, and Ollie's is convenient because they have the drop box right there in the store.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Also, try and remember boys and girls.
Boys and
children
girls.
of all ages.
Yes.
Mhm.
So if you go to tfradio.net/elf, which is our Amazon wish list, again, we draw no referral fees off of that. We do try to make sure that there are toys for boys and girls and kids of all ages on there. They're inexpensive toys that you can pick up. If you don't have a drop box, it'll come to me and I'll drop it off here in a few weeks. But yeah, remember, kids of all ages, and just help out a kid. Pick up a toy, drop it in a box. Okay, let's jump to the news. So this is kind of not good news for Hasbro. It's from Business Wire. There's a class action lawsuit from Hasbro investors alleging false claims about Hasbro-owned inventory. So anybody dug into this? I'm assuming that they're saying that Hasbro has more owned inventory than they stated.
So the way I'm reading this, basically, it's a misrepresentation on Hasbro's part of the nature of their inventory. This is covering a period from 2022 to late 2023, and is basically talking about the inventory that they amassed in response to demand that was generated by COVID conditions in the preceding years. So basically, the way this alleges, Hasbro was representing that the inventory was being amassed as a response to that demand, and basically saying that, yeah, having all this is good because, when all this stuff sells through, we'll be able to move all this out and we're not going to have an inventory shortfall, when they're alleging that the truth of the matter is that they overpurchased and they kind of were being overly optimistic, and then their shareholder reports came in and reported that, we're actually having a contraction this quarter instead of growth.
Yeah, you don't want to have too much inventory. You want to have inventory to sell, but you don't want to own like retailers don't want to own inventory either. They would actually rather have consigned inventory in the store where they don't own it and they just pay out when the customer rings it up at the register. But yeah, nobody wants to own inventory because it is it's a cost. It's carrying cost, and it's not good. And when you're a manufacturer, it can be death. So yeah.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting when lawsuits like this originate, because one thing you need in a lawsuit is someone to bring a complaint that basically shows damage or harm. And so this complaint, it's going to potentially turn into a class action lawsuit, but it's being originated by the West Palm Beach Firefighters Pension Fund, which apparently owns Hasbro shares,
Right.
to fund their pension, which is a very popular thing in Canada, to have private equity funding, private equity and stocks and other assets fund pensions, but not necessarily something you at least hear about a lot in the United States. And the other thing that I thought was interesting is one of the things that's come out in this complaint is that allegedly, or maybe not allegedly, it might be in discovery, that it costs $50 million to move and market the excess inventory just in October of 2023.
Wow.
So, moving that inventory from, wherever they had it, reallocating it, selling it down to say an Ollie's or someone, like that. And then again, like, who pays for moving the inventory and all that stuff. It ended up costing them $50 million. And the claim is, in total, the shareholders suffered almost $1 billion in loss value, so over $100 million. But yeah, I mean, it costs real money when you kind of mess up on the buying, like Brian was saying, $50 million just to, like, quote unquote, get rid of it and write it down, just get it off, your hands. Very expensive. And it'd be interesting to see, like, what comes of this. But it does seem, clear, even from like us being like, so close to these things, seeing Ollie's and seeing all this other stuff. It's pretty clear this is what happened. As far as like if there's any liability, in over ordering, overstocking, we'll see. But definitely, like, I think we've all kind of like seen this happen, and it certainly looks like a duck and walks like a duck for sure.
I'd be interested in knowing what constitutes that inventory. Like, I imagine a good chunk of it is the Vintage Beast Wars line from the last couple of years.
Indeed.
Ollie's is full of that. Yeah. Eternals. Yeah. Marvel
the
Legends.
Other thing, interesting too on the accounting side is, so, you can effectively like write off dead inventory if you hold on to it long enough. You can basically assign a $0 value to it and write it off. It takes a long time to depreciate it to where you can say this is worthless.
Do you have to destroy it, or can you donate it, or does that vary?
That's the thing. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you have to destroy
it. Donating it is hairy. You can't sell it. Right?
Yeah.
Obviously, like once you sell it, it's a value, and now you're responsible for that dollar amount. So again, it's interesting that they had so much of it that they couldn't even just say, like, we're just going to eat it and write this down, because often that is the cheaper alternative.
So
because you're just eating the cost. They had so much of it, they had to sell it.
So they couldn't even
immediately
ET
you're on the
stuff.
hook. What was that, Rob?
So they couldn't even ET this stuff and just bury it in a landfill somewhere.
No. It was just too much. So they just took what they could get for it.
So the company I worked for in the past, when I was closer to these things, I do know that some of the agreements that we had with their vendors is that some of the product, if it was written off, it had to be what was called field destroyed, which basically means that you take it behind the store and smash it.
Yeah, we used to have to take pictures for proof that we were throwing it in the dumpster.
Yeah. So Shouta in our Discord, tfradio.net/Discord, said that those Walmart 2-packs, Transformers 2-packs from last year makes way more sense now. I bought up a ton of those for Toys for Tots, and they're in storage, and I need to find where they're at because I definitely want to drop those off. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff left over from Christmas last year.
And I mean, this is kind of what we were thinking was up with those when we first started hearing about them. Like, we knew that some of those waves of legacy stuff was just, it did not ever go anywhere, and they were trying to liquidate out the dead stock without going to, places that they weren't already sending the stuff. Like, that was a move to get the stuff from where it already was out on the shelves without having to make more deals to move it somewhere else. My read on this class action, like, in general, from what I've learned about this, class actions generally settle out of court, and generally those settlements are sealed. You never actually learn what the outcome is. That's probably what's going to end up happening here, and this is probably a little bit more of a strategic move to recoup losses from Hasbro's stock price falling over the last, X number of months as, their fortunes have turned down. Like, that's not going to be any good for Hasbro, certainly in any case here, but they might be able to make the investors, the pension holders, more whole than they are right now from that downturn, even with a settlement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is being brought by a legal firm that specializes in these kind of lawsuits. And so, again, we're not judging that business model.
No.
But that is what this firm specializes in. They'll look for loss in stakeholder and shareholder value, and then see if there's any legal action to be taken.
Yeah. Hey, so good news, I guess. I guess it's good news. I mean, it is good news. Transformers 1 is now available on Paramount Plus if you have a subscription, and you should, so you can watch Star Trek. But yeah, so
is it good news?
It's good news in the sense that it was going to wind up there eventually.
Yeah.
So it's not like this is a surprise.
Yeah, it's a good movie, and now you can watch it from the comfort of your home.
Diecast, I know the direction you're coming at this from, and this is the exact same timetable that Rise of the Beasts went from pay-per-view streaming, on-demand streaming, to just available by subscription on Paramount Plus. It's the exact same process and timeline.
I wonder if, because it goes from, paid, we'll call it, purchase subscription,
premium,
on demand,
streaming on demand, to these streaming services now where you're paying, but you get a whole bunch of, you get tons and tons of movies, that people are just like, I'll wait the extra month till it's on my Paramount Plus.
That happens.
I did.
Yeah.
So you're kind of cannibalizing it. It used to be like the whatever you called it, the pay-per-view or whatever.
Premium channels?
Yeah, well,
like HBO, Showtime.
Is on demand the phrase you're looking for?
Yeah, the on demand, like that. It used to be that on demand was cannibalizing the movies, and now it's almost like the streaming services are cannibalizing the on demand. So I'm just wondering, it's like,
think of streaming services more as
they
cable.
Losing money because of this? You know what I mean? Because how much does Transformers 1 get for streaming on Paramount Plus? Probably not a lot.
Not a lot, but like this is how, even if Transformers 1 made $1 trillion, it was going to wind up here. So this is exactly what was going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, you can't look at this as the movie losing money by going here, because this was always part of the plan on this timetable.
When it went to premium streaming, like the pay-per-view model, that was unfortunate because that was way too quick. But this is expected based on the timing of that.
I just almost feel like they should give it more time, so that way they can rake in a couple more dollars.
$50 more. Here's $50 more dollars. That's about what you're gonna get.
Well, I paid $25 to have.
I saw it in the theater twice. I've given the movie my money. When I watch it next, it's going to be through here. The thing is, though, it's on Paramount Plus for streaming as part of the subscription package. If you don't have a Paramount Plus subscription, you still have to go buy/rent that at a discrete price from Amazon Prime Video or Vudu. Does Vudu still exist?
Yeah.
Just, you
It's
still
now
have- you still
Fandango
have
at
to-
home.
You still have to make that specific purchase if you do not have this streaming service.
Yeah. You can still get it on Blu-ray and maybe DVD.
Well, that
In about
Yeah.
a month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Blu-ray is coming out in December.
December
Yeah, this-
17th. December 17th.
and
Yeah,
I'll probably buy that too.
Yeah.
But
I've
yeah,
already pre-ordered it.
The movie is now more widely available, and since we are not investors or market analysts, that is a good thing.
Yeah, there you
Yes.
go. There you go.
It's a good movie, and people should be able to see.
And it should have done better in the theaters.
It
Yeah.
really
So what
should
I
have.
really wish that it would still rake in more money so it can be
So we can get a
considered
sequel.
a success and get a sequel. And
Yeah, that's the only thing that I care about with whatever amount of money it made. But at the same time, critical reception is almost as important to getting a sequel greenlit as the money it made. So, I think this movie was well regarded by the 5 people who watched
Just
it.
nobody like people were quick to blame the marketers. Oh, the marketing on this was terrible. Honestly, it wasn't great, but honestly, the audience was terrible because nobody wanted to see it because it was just another Transformers movie. And honestly, that's pretty much it could have been marketed a million times better, and it wouldn't have done that much better because
There was no
people
getting around what the movie actually was.
yeah. There's no appetite for a Transformers animated film. Even as fans, we joked about this before we saw it, and we saw it and we loved it, but
Yeah.
we didn't care.
This is the only Transformers movie I've gone and seen in a theater more than once.
I wish
Well,
I could say the same.
I didn't.
Same.
I joked about it because of the way it was marketed, and that's not the movie I got.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think that nobody wanted another Transformers movie, especially a year after a Transformers live action movie that
Yeah,
didn't
it
do that
was
great.
way too close to Rise
Yeah.
to the Beast.
Yeah. I liked it better than Rise of the Beast, and I liked Rise of the Beast. So
I still haven't watched Rise of the Beast.
I liked it. It's worth seeing.
And that's on Paramount Plus too. I
It is.
have literally no excuse except that I can't sit there and make myself watch that movie.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway,
also on Amazon Prime Video, I think, which is where I saw it. So.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a first look at Age of the Primes Armada Red Alert test shot.
woo, woo, woo.
Woo. Yeah. Um.
So this is a vehicle mode shot only. And the first takeaway I have of this is that while that looks a lot like Crankcase's engineering, which is not a surprise.
So it's a Voyager, and the
It is.
original toy was a Voyager as well, right? This will be
This is
about
going to be a much smaller.
it'll be a
Voyager,
half the
about
size, half the size of the original Voyager. Yeah.
A little misleading.
Yeah. Well, it
Is
is.
it? Yeah. I mean, the fact that it's a Voyager makes me think otherwise. But is it going to use the? Oh no, it's Armada Red Alert. I was thinking, would it use the same engineering as Cannonball from the Pirate line? But no,
I mean, it
that
probably is
Cybertron.
basically going to be that engineering, though, because that was not very different in how those toys ever worked.
Well, yeah.
Because Cybertron Red Alert did something different with the legs, but fundamentally it was very similar to the Armada toy at a smaller scale. And this has no reason to not just take the same kind of engineering scheme as Crankcase and Skids and whoever all else, there's way too many of those out there, and just
Yes.
execute it at a larger size.
So why are we
Yeah,
getting?
that original toy would be what, almost a liter class? these days?
Oh,
right,
yeah, easily.
right,
I would
right at,
imagine
right
I
at.
mean, he's gigantic.
I hate to ask this,
Even
but,
without electronics.
yeah, I hate to ask this, but why are we getting this? Was there pent-up demand for Armada Red Alert?
Because we have Prime and Hotshot.
Yeah, and Starscream.
And Megatron and Tidal Wave.
But we don't have a
And if
scavenger.
no, we do
See-
have new Scavenger and Cyclonus.
Okay. So I've been a big
Demolisher.
proponent. Yes,
Demolisher, yeah.
yes. I've been a big proponent that the Armada toys, as they exist, are wonderful and unassailable as toys, and nothing can ever be better than Armada Scavenger. The only thing you can do with Armada Scavenger is make something that looks more like the cartoon and actually has posable legs. But you can't make a better toy
I love
than
that
Armada
toy.
Scavenger.
I love that toy.
Better come with a cape if they bother.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like we don't have a listing for a Legacy or Age of the Generations Armada Scavenger because they know that they can't make anything that is better
a
than what
better figure,
exists.
but you can't make a better toy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. It's not a
Yeah.
good figure, but it's a fun toy.
And you can't tune a fish, but you can tune a boat.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see here. So,
Before we move
Sure.
on, though, I do want to point out, if you look at the picture closely, there's some pieces that aren't on this toy, and it does have. It looks like if you look on the far side, there's like a flip around hinge for how Red Alert had the cannon that went over the shoulder
mhm.
and then popped off to be the gun. So like it's going to have that functionality, and it's just missing the gun piece out of here. So it is a little bit more than just like a scale up of like the skids engineering, but I see a lot of like skids probably in this still
And
at the same
like
time.
all of your mini-con ports are just 5mm ports now.
They did put a 5mm post on the back of the spinal column. I don't know what you'd want to call that thing, but there is on that big clear plastic piece a 5mm port. So if you have, the updated long arm that probably isn't going to exist, or something similar, like there is a place to plug something on like that, or a micromaster from Siege if you saw some of those floating around.
I'm going to move on. Is anybody excited about Gamer Edition Ironhide?
So like I've handled Gamer Edition Ratchet, and it's a really interestingly engineered toy. I hate every bit of actually fiddling with it, but it's really interesting how they designed it.
Oh, that's a good warning.
I don't I don't think I care to own an Ironhide based on this, but if you were to get it, like the robot mode's good, the vehicle mode's good, and the transformation will at least keep your attention for a good half hour or so.
Oh no.
The thing I don't like about this primarily, and this is going to be really weird and nitpicky, the gray is too dark and too cool.
Yes, it is.
It needs to be it needs to be lighter and more neutral tone.
Yeah, but this does have value for some people, even if I'm not really into it, because not only was this how Ironhide looked in the Cybertron games, they also basically used this as the basis for his appearance in IDW Volume 1. So there is, that there is a spot for this in the collections of people who liked Till All or One and some of those comics. So
yeah, I mean, again, based on my experience with Ratchet, it's a well-made toy. There's just a lot going on if you actually want to transform it. But no, I'm not excited for it. To answer your original question.
Okay. I think that I'm excited about the next item.
I kind of thought you would be.
And I don't know why, because I don't much care for the soundtrack, I'll be honest, but the Transformers 1 soundtrack is getting an audiophile vinyl release on a golden disc, on a golden record.
Actually.
180 gram, which is what makes me interested. It's going to be a yellow record. It's for sale right now from Barnes & Noble for like $63.
Mm-hmm.
I am seeing if I have a Barnes & Noble login or if I have to create one to get this. I don't even like. I mean, I've got a record player. It's just not hooked up. Did it like?
You don't buy these to play them.
Yeah, you frame them or put them on a rack or something.
I do have. Yeah, I mean, I've got tons of records already framed. But yeah, so this.
How many of them are gold?
None.
Or more realistically, how many of them are mustard?
None of them are mustard. Oh, hopefully this won't have mustard plastic syndrome.
Well, it's not. I mean, okay, vinyl kind of is plastic, but it's not the same kind of plastic. I think you'll be all right.
So let's see here. What Transformers records do I have? I have 3. I have 2 original copies of the '86 soundtrack and the reissue. I have the 45 single of the Touch. I have the full size LP of the Touch. I don't think I have any other records for. Oh, I have that Transformers record that came out a couple years ago. The one that has the weird remix of the TV theme.
Oh yeah. Manny Kara says golden discs are meant to be launched into space.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I'm trying to remember. There's music on there, and I'm trying the blues song on there. I'm trying to remember them.
Wait, what?
There's a blues track on there that I have on my Spotify playlist that I play occasionally. Yeah, so I think Carl Sagan is the one that came up with the idea for the disc, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So I don't remember any of the music on this being that memorable.
I will admit I can't really remember specifically any music cue in this movie.
Yeah, it just didn't stand out.
Unfortunately, like,
Yeah.
well, like on the one hand, you could say that's a good thing because it meant that like the music kind of fit and flowed with each scene. It wasn't dominating and it didn't feel like it was out of place or anything like that. But it's also bad to sell soundtracks for a movie whose score you can't remember.
Yeah. So, Fig Pen Transformers Mystery Series, enamel pins. So
this is where you can tell it was a rough week to find news.
Yeah, so I like pens. I'm not gonna lie. I have some pens. I have a couple of. I know that Kevin Dorsey knows who I'm talking about, but like there's an influencer dog named Norbert who's adorable. I have like a couple of his pens, and I have a couple other pens. I don't have any Transformers. No, I do have some Transformers pens. But this is weird. So there are things, they list them as common, uncommon, rare, super rare, hyper rare, ultra rare. I hate when these phrases get thrown around. So I'm assuming that these are...
There are 9 characters represented, and 5 of them have variants.
I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that.
I do want to just point out that the gist of the sentence you just said was, I have pins of an influencer dog, but this is weird.
Yes. If that wasn't too long for an episode title, that would be the episode title.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's right. I have dog influencer pens, but this is weird to me.
Big pins are the ones that do those really like huge pins that are almost like bricks, and they're like $30 or $40. At least these look like normal size pins.
Oh, I thought you were saying these were $30 or $40.
No, well, I don't know how much.
The case of 8, I think, is $100 on the Big Pin site.
Oh God, and
they're expensive,
and they're blind packed, right?
Yeah,
that's too rich for me for something that's blind packed.
Wait 6 months and check GameStop's website.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. The other thing too, okay, so like the commons, the one you're going to mostly find is Optimus, Bumblebee, Soundwave, and Shockwave. Rares are Prowl and Ironhide. Super rares are Jazz, but also Starscream. Starscream's a super rare. Megatron is an ultra rare.
That is so silly.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I could see making rares of Prowl and Ironhide. They're G1 characters, they're 1984 characters, but they're not like, top tier headliners that people think of all the time. But like Starscream as exceptionally rare, or Megatron of all things as like the next most rarest. That's just really weird priorities with this.
Normally, like when it comes to like collectibles like this, it's a variant color that's rare or super rare, not the character.
And we kind of have that here because the uncommon tier is the commons again, but in like a sparkly finish. And then the ultra rare, which is some kind of app redemption nonsense, is Megatron again, I guess in gold and black based on this description.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know if Diecast is going to buy this, but I guarantee you that Sean Bratton will buy this. Boomer will own this. There's no way around it. So Yolopark is teasing a Rise of the Beast 7-foot tall Optimus Prime.
I would love to own this, but I'm scared to figure out how much it would be, because when we were at TFCon, Yolopark was there, one of the distributors in the US for Yolopark, and they had a Prime that was probably like 2 foot tall, and it was $2,500, I think. So I don't even want to know how much a 7-foot tall Optimus Prime would be. It'd probably be close to 10 grand.
That depends on the materials and things like that. It's not necessarily guaranteed to scale that way, but it probably is.
I actually think it will probably be more than what Diecast is predicting. See, I wanted to imagine this as just like a more gigantic version of one of their AMK Pro kits.
Just a big plastic ball peg.
Yeah, like, you just basically you get an IKEA flat shipped to you, and you crack it open, and you just build up with like 5 Allen keys, a big Optimus Prime statue.
See, I was
did
thinking
actually.
you could get it in a coffin, which then you could reuse later on for yourself. It's good dononomics.
Yeah, yeah. I actually did write in the show notes for this one, Diecast is going to need a bigger boat, just on the assumption that he was going to get this from Taobao. There's not going to be room on the normal slow boats for this, for sure.
Can I do a pre-order and can they ship me like a leg at a time? Can I get a leg one day?
A subscription model.
Yeah.
Like all those other models that
Oh yeah, like
fan home.
the fan home, like the Enterprise and the Megazord and whatever. Like, except this, instead of being over the course of like 2 years, it'll just be over the course of the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which won't be that long when your wife finds out how much you spent on it.
He had 5 Corvettes pre-ordered. She won't care.
But I only got one, so
Yeah. Okay. Anything else about this?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yolopark, please send this to me.
Please. Yeah. At Diecast 2, reach out to him.
Yeah.
So I want to jump to what we got this week. And as a reminder to everyone listening, the off-topic or the ham sandwich portion is exclusive to our Patreon feed at patreon.com/tfradio. But of course, we start off with the on-topic stuff, and I am going to go to Diecast first. Did you get anything Transformers-wise this week?
I did, and I teased it on Blue Sky, or I showed the photo of it, which is the little Blokees Mirage that you build. Now, this is the classic, what they're calling the classic scale, which comes into a box that's almost 10 inches tall.
Okay.
So I expected it to kind of be deluxe scaled, and I was excited about it. And then I built it, and it's very close to core class, what we would consider core class, I guess. And the proportions just seem off. It was a really nice build. Like, everything fit together really nice. The instructions were good. I just think it's a little expensive. I paid like $30 for it. And it just doesn't fit anything I have. So if this was deluxe scaled, I'd be able to put this on my shelf with my other Rise of the Beast figures. But this is just, for me, it's just like a miss. Like, I really wish I just got one of the blind boxes instead for $5 or $10. And at least my expectations wouldn't have been as high, because this is almost as big. It's only like a little bit taller than the blind box figures. So it's not like the Yoloparks where they can kind of fit in with your regular Transformers figures. And it just seems like very, very out of place to me.
Yeah, it just does. It doesn't look like it appeals to me.
Yeah. I had high hopes for it just because it was a non-transforming Mirage. Mirage is the hardest Rise of the Beast figure to do in a transforming
That's
figure.
fair. Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, non-transforming one would work really well and should look really good. And it just doesn't look that good for what I wanted in my head. And the only thing I got other than that was today when I got home, I got the Slipstream, the deluxe.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, Legacy.
which is done off the Windblade mold.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got this week for On Topic.
Donald, what about you?
The only thing I got on topic this week was I decided to pick up the Yolopark, the Starscream.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah. So I decided to get that to go with Megatron and Optimus. So I'm looking forward to having some time to build that. Haven't actually built any of them yet, just lack of time. But everything I'm saying is this Pro Series here is a phenomenal set. So I'm looking forward to opening that up when I've got some time.
Cool. Matt, what about you?
Nothing this week.
John?
Nothing this week.
Chris?
Oh yes. Actually, why don't you call on Rob first? I'm gonna go a little bit long, so
Okay.
I got nothing on topic.
Okay.
Perfect. So back to me. First off, a big thanks to Paladin. I was having kind of a rough time week before last, and he saw that, and he sent me something from my wish list with a nice little message of encouragement included. So I really appreciate him doing that for me. And it means that this week I have the Amazon Ruckus and Bludgeon 2-pack.
Oh, cool.
So one thing I found in common on both toys is that they generally have like looser joint fittings, especially like comparing to the single pack Bludgeon or the regular Tarn. It's kind of harder to draw a direct comparison with Ruckus and Beachcomber because of how many parts are new and unique on Ruckus. I'll come back around to that though. So mostly on Bludgeon, the looser joints don't feel like too much of a problem. I don't think like bearing the weight of the accessories is at any risk or keeping a load-bearing pose. There's only really one place where I'm really consistently noticing the parts fit issue, and that's those little swiveling cannons that poke up over the shoulders. They don't quite fall out, but they come loose and try to run away with very little provocation. It might be a thing you could floor polish, but I'm not really sure. But it's the only thing where like it's just not so easy to like hand wave away the slightly off tolerances like everything else is. So it's a minor thing on the whole for that. Bludgeon's colors are nice, while not traditionally Bludgeon-esque. I want to say they might even be a little bit too saturated for the comic art that they're inspired by, but that's probably more of a matter of interpretation. Like we certainly saw with like More Than Meets the Eye back before it became Lost Light, like the colors in that were specifically chosen to be a little bit more of a muted style. And it wasn't necessarily representative of like any toys that it was representing, and toys based on that still tend to come out in like full saturation. So I think it's more a matter of just like how each person in the chain is kind of taking the intent of those colors. I will say the mustard plastic does a very competent job at matching with the mustard gold paint used on the lower legs. It's a really difficult thing to get right. Rob will back me up on that. And this is among the better efforts that I can recall of blending those two things together.
Nice.
The big show here though is Ruckus, and I mean that literally. Ruckus is like a full third taller than Beachcomber and is only like a head shorter than Bludgeon. I'm sure I've made this exact joke before, but reruns being the spice of life and all. It's almost misleading to call Ruckus a partial of Beachcomber when so little is shared. It's more like he's a minimal. What do these toys have in common? I'm glad you asked. The pelvis, the hips, the thighs, the shoulders, the bicep/elbow hinges, the fists, the wheels and tires, a gun, and maybe that square shaft that runs down the length of the inside of the torso. Maybe. The list sounds like more material than it is. In truth, that probably makes up less than a quarter of the toy. And a lot of that is just the unpaintable parts sprue. So like they cloned that from Beachcomber over to the Ruckus tooling, and that's all they really have in common. There are some sacrifices that Ruckus has to live with for what this is trying to do. So the height of the shins is the same as on Beachcomber. So basically they gave Ruckus elevator shoes to boost the robot height. This results though in an ankle tilt that looks like it's in the middle of Ruckus's fibula, if Ruckus had a fibula. Thankfully for a basic standing around sort of pose, you only need to tilt them a tiny bit, and the effect is not so immediately noticeable there. The posability of the arms is restricted some by the integrated backpack. The impact is minimal for most cases, but you're not gonna like not notice this because like if you try to move the arms back at all, they immediately bump into the outer edges of the backpack. You have to like lift the arms out to move them back any discernible degree. I think with the Triggercon gimmick, that was kind of unavoidable just because of how those pieces had to sit, but it's kind of unfortunate because pitching the arms back just a little bit is like a very basic thing for a natural standing pose, and it can't really do that. I do like the way the Triggercon setup works, though. It's by far the best execution they've pulled off, and it really makes it that much more disappointing that they couldn't have done more with Windsweeper. but like Ruckus is the only one of these that does not immediately need an add-on kit to finish the job. The cannons come packaged separately and they peg into flip around hinges, but they can also just be used on their own as handheld guns if you want. They have extra side-facing 5mm pegs, so they can just be hand-carried weapons. I think it's a nice touch, even if that's probably not the way most people are going to use them. What really stood out to me, I'm really happy with how quick and easy the transformation is, and it feels a lot to me like taking a trip back to the mid 2000s and that era of like the big chunky parts that just cleanly flip around and click in place. It's like a really simple, quick, satisfying thing. And it's not something that I feel like I get a ton of in modern like collector level Transformers toys anymore. So like that was a really neat thing to experience without like going in and expecting that. So the vehicle mode sits solid and sturdy. Everything like pegs together really snug, secure. The wheels all like line up in a line with no problem, which I mean I've had plenty of 4-wheel alt modes where you got like massage things into place to get the vehicle to not be wobbly on 2 wheels. And like the vehicle mode is just it's big, man. Like it's hard to really convey if you have not handled this thing how much bigger it is than Beachcomber. It feels like it belongs to a different size class, except for that it's a little bit more on the simple side, and it's a little bit light feeling because like that big torso block, of course, that's gonna be kind of hollow inside. But like they did a great job taking this from the open roll bar buggy style of Beachcomber to the like heavier style, fully enclosed vehicle that Ruckus is. And most all of the paintwork was saved for this mode too. The robot chest actually it looks kind of plain with nothing added to it but the Decepticon insignia. But the vehicle surfaces have a bunch of pops of color and detail in this like really sharp silver and metallic teal paint app pattern that they use. It's really, really nice looking. I think the one knock that I would give the vehicle mode though is that there's nowhere for the robot head to hide. Like sure, you rotate it around so the face isn't showing, but the head is just still hanging out there in the back anyway. There's no cover for it. It can't pop in or anything. It's just there. So like, yeah, Ruckus is not perfect, but I think it doesn't have to be. It's fun and it by and large feels good to mess with. I enjoy it way more than I did Beachcomber. Maybe because I don't have another like very similar toy to compare it against. Every time I was messing with Beachcomber after I got it, I was just thinking of like the Power of the Primes one, which was basically doing all the same things, but it was fresh then, and this just felt like a rerun. Ruckus doesn't have anything like that to hold against it, so like everything it's doing just feels like, yeah, this is just this toy doing its thing. But either way, like I'm enjoying messing with Ruckus way more than I have with Beachcomber, and like just something about it just feels more like complete in a way I can't exactly quantify. It's really impressive what they pulled off making this happen, and I'm glad that they got at least one they got at least one of the Triggercons right. I don't need a third non-F kit to finish this one off. And also, Bludgeon is here too, and that's what I got this week.
Cool. Okay.
Thank you, Paladin.
Yeah, thank you, Paladin. So I got a couple of things. There's a theme minus the first one. Don had mentioned last week how now we can say that Transformers is a toy Hall of Fame product, and they can put that on the packaging. So this week I can say that I have a Transformers Hall of Fame character or toy, and it's G1 Erector. So I'm again going through trying to finish G1. It's hard when I don't have things documented and when everything's in storage. So I have to go by like what I'm sure I don't have, and I was sure that I didn't have Erector because I don't have any of the Micromaster transport figures, and I like it a lot better than I thought I was going to be honest. There's more to it. Like if you buy a 4-pack Micromaster set, It's just like the patrols. It's just like the Micromaster robots. This one actually, there's more to it, and he's pretty nifty, and I like him. I can't wait to pick up more of these. I think other than the transports and some of like the playsets, I'm more or less done with Micromasters. Of course, there's like Rabbit Crater from Japan that I don't have, and that one's ridiculous. Like that'll be like $500 for one Micromaster. But I think I'm finishing American G1. I think I can say I can finish American G1. Finishing Japanese in Europe, and definitely when you venture outside of like the Hasbro G1, Hasbro Takara, it gets really hard. It gets dicey. But the couple other things I got, there's a theme to it. The theme is generally, I would say, resealed. And I am totally good with a resealed toy, as long as you know that it's resealed. So he's actually not on the seal. It's a lifted bubble, but it's G1 Sea Spray. One of my favorite mini bot. I love it. Card's nice shape, and I'm just amazed that, I don't know why I'm amazed that like something can stay like on a lifted bubble for 40 years when there are things out there that are sealed. But like if it's something sealed, it could have been new old stock or something else. Like somebody taking the time to lift the bubble but leave it intact is, I don't know. I don't know. That just seems more difficult to me. So paired with Sea Spray, I got my favorite mini bot, which is Cosmos. Yeah, I love Cosmos. And that'll look nice on the wall when I have an office that I can put stuff on the wall with. And the last thing I got, the box isn't resealed, but the bubble is. It is the European Classic G1 Sideswipe.
Ooh, interesting.
I always love the gold box stuff. And I saw this on eBay. And I thought how do I say this? I thought the box was resealed, not the bubble. The box is a little rougher than I thought it was going to be. But how do I say this? When it comes to shelf appeal, I like having a little bit, I like having the edges a little bit worn. I like seeing age on a toy. I like seeing the stickers. I like seeing some flap creases.
You want the patina.
The patina, yes. What I don't want is having something on my shelf that I have to think, like, do I need to validate that that's not a knockoff?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to look at something and say, like, I can look at it and tell if it's like a Chinese knockoff, but I don't know. I don't like even the idea of it. So,
So, Brian, you described that as gold box classics. Now, do you want to explain for our listeners who were born in the last 20 years what that actually means?
Okay, so Hasbro, in a couple of times actually over the years in Europe and also later in China in the 90s, re-released G1 toys a few years later I think in China, I mean, it would have not been in the exact same packaging, but I don't remember what the Chinese packaging, the G1 reissue stuff looked like. But in Europe, the classic figures like 84, 85, 86, I don't remember how many of them, most of them, if not all, were released later in Europe in classics packaging. So back in the day, that's when I got my original like Bruticus. I got in the late 90s, the mid to late 90s, I got like a complete Bruticus and I think a complete Defensor, like all sealed, and it was all on the European cards. So it's still vintage. It's still in the same general time frame, but it's the same toy, but it came out later and in a cooler looking box than what we got. And they came out like in Spain. I don't remember where else.
Another thing that's interesting about that, the Constructicons also came out in that format, but they came out without any of their combiner parts, so you could not actually make Devastator with the gold box classic Constructicons.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a couple other gold box toys. I have like a sealed Springer and a couple others, but I don't have many of them. I've always just I think it's because I was able to acquire them in the 90s sealed. I think that's where my nostalgia for it comes from, because of course I wasn't in Europe. But just the color of it, color of the box, the font, and everything. I just really like the look of those toys in the box.
They are cool looking. They're kind of different from any other G1 or adjacent stuff that's out there too.
Yeah. I had mentioned that Hasbro had reissued some of the toys in China later on. I know next to nothing about those, other than I have a couple. I have like a Mirage and a Soundwave that came from that. But like, I do have some Takara. I guess I don't know if Takara manufactured them. I guess, but Chinese issues of G1 Takara stuff. A couple. But when it comes to the stuff that Hasbro did in China, I need to dig into it because I don't know how they're packaged. I'd like to know. But yeah, that's what I got this week. Let's jump to ham sandwiches. For our podcast listeners, you're not hearing this right now, who are not on Patreon. For people on the live stream, yeah, you get this. But for our podcast listeners, you only get the off-topic, non-Transformer stuff on our Patreon feed at patreon.com/tfradio. So I will start off. This week I got nothing. I was expecting to get a He-Man figure from Matty Collector. And I should be getting something else from Matty Collector. Not Matty Collector, from Mattel Creations soon. We'll talk about that later.
I think a few of us are.
I think we all are.
Yeah, I think my brother's going to be getting that.
Yeah, so
nice.
But but I was supposed to get that today, but it didn't come. So, Diecast, did you get any off-topic stuff?
I did. I got the Green Goblin helmet or face or whatever mask, and then his little destructor grenade too.
So this is a Hasbro thing.
Yeah, this is a Hasbro.
Which Green Goblin? Which like is it the 2002 Spider-Man or is it a different one?
I think it's the
You would know that if it's the 2002 Spider-Man, you would know because it looks like something Sentai-ish.
Yeah, it's the 2002 one, I believe. The Tobey Maguire.
Might technically be No Way Home, but it's too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It could technically be No Way Home. But yeah, it's that one.
Cool.
Oh, and the pumpkin bomb. Yes. Nate in the chat told me it's the pumpkin bomb.
Okay. Cool. You have a lot of those things.
Yeah, a lot of helmets. I have a Green Ranger, the original Iron Man, Darth Vader.
But by the original Iron Man, do you mean the stovepipe?
No. The first Marvel Legends helmet that they did was Iron Man. So that's the one I mean.
You have Optimus, you have Megatron, you have Soundwave.
Yep. Those were the icon
heroes?
Yeah.
Icon heroes.
Something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
Modern icons.
Modern icons.
Oh, yeah.
Modern icons. I have I have the Soundwave and the Cobra Commander. That's all I have from those.
Yeah. I have the Lord Zed one with the
Zed's dead.
Punchy brain or the soft brain.
Cool.
Pretty cool.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Donald.
I got two things. Stopped by my GameStop on the way back in from work yesterday, and I found my second Iron Grenadier bat. So now I've got two bats and two Iron Grenadiers, so I'm happy. The ratio is fine, so I'm happy with that.
I would be fine just having one of those. I don't need multiples.
Well, I don't usually troop build, but
I didn't either.
Yeah,
how many bats do I have? Like 14 or 20 bats, something like that. I bought some stupid number of them.
Yeah, I have like 2 or 3 tops, and that's about it. But the big thing came today. The thing I have been waiting for a decade. The thing that several people on the podcast politely told me would never happen.
Oh no, I did not politely tell you. I told you very matter-of-factly.
I was being generous. So after
No, I'm gonna own it. I know what I did.
Yeah, so
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
We will.
So after a decade of waiting for this, knowing
Jack of Hearts.
it would fit
Marvel Legends Jack of
So-
Hearts. Did it happen?
so perfectly into the Soul Chogokin line,
Oh.
I have
Power Pack. Marvel Legends Power Pack.
In Soul
the-
Chogokin?
Yes.
Nintendo Power Glove.
yeah,
I love
It's
the
so
Power
bad.
Glove.
Fingers.
I have
It's so bad.
Tryon 3, the first Super Robot Gundam. And
G Gundam
I-
would have a word with you, Don.
Yeah, so I'd say debatable, but
Okay,
you know,
okay.
I'll accept
Well,
it.
the first brave level Super Robot Gundam that has the music, the shield when they're combining, the twinge off the crest, the rainbow in the background when they combine.
Your toy came with a rainbow?
Oh, shut up, Diecast.
It's been known to happen. It's not impossible.
But I have been
Burning
waiting.
Gundam comes with one.
Yeah.
I have been waiting for this for a decade since Build Fighters Try came out, because I have never seen a Gundam that so beautifully encapsulated the super robot motif. Now, unfortunately, due to my advanced age, reading Japanese instructions on a Soul Chogokin without a video to go
Ooh.
by is not something I can do anymore. So, unfortunately, I have not had a chance to combine them into the incomparable Tryon 3, but I do have the individual components. I have the Riku Tryon, which is the Liger. I have, and Chris and Rob, correct me if I'm wrong here, Umi Tryon, which is the
Yeah.
Manta Ray. And I have the Sora Tryon, which of the three is kind of, well, he's the legs.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Yes.
there's really not much you can do to get around that. But I know the line of Soul Chogokin, Chogokin being metal, these things are heavy, especially Sora Tryon with him being the base.
Mhm.
But it looks great. There's tons of accessories. I'm going to definitely have to find a video. I think Wotafa has a
He
video.
does.
He already has a video out for it. So hopefully next week I'll be able to show you, or I'll put some pictures on my Twitter and Blue Sky once I get it combined. But so glad that I got this. So glad I finally have, because I didn't buy the model kit because I knew this was going to end up in Soul Chogokin. I did not expect it to take a decade of my life, but when you wait 25 years for RC, 10 years, it's not so bad.
And I think there's a little overlap there too. So like, you didn't wait 25 years and then 10 years for this. Like you got
Yeah.
a little bit of it concurrent.
Would it
Right.
be
A little
okay
time
if
there.
I provided a little bit of context and color commentary on this?
Sure.
thing?
You do that, Rob. I'll hold up the box.
Okay,
It's an audio podcast, Don.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. I just had to get that in there.
it's okay. We'll just keep going. Okay, so Tryon 3 is from Gundam Build Fighters Try, which is a sequel to a Buy Our Product spin-off of Gundam. That is, it's basically, it's one of those, it is buying these toys is fun
Toyetic.
kind of shows.
It's as toyetic as you can get.
Yeah. Okay. So what it is specifically is a heavy kit bash of the Double Zeta Gundam, which did have the same transformation, not exactly the same transformation gimmick, but it was a transforming and separating mobile suit in its original incarnation. Typically, Gundam figures do not end up in Soul of Chogokin. It might have wound up as a Robot Spirits metal build or something else, but there is no sane or rational reason to have ever expected this thing to exist, except that Don is magic. So, I am really happy for you, Don. This never should have happened in a million years. And I am really just absolutely thrilled for you that it did.
I just don't understand why everyone else didn't see it as clearly as I did. It just makes complete sense to me.
In Don's defense, the Tryon 3 sequence in Build Fighters Try,
It's one of the best things put to animation.
Yeah, the animation director for the Build Fighter series is Masami Obari, who is a long running and very respected director of robot anime. He worked on a lot of Brave stuff. He worked on Gal Gaigar. This year he did Brave Bang Bravern, which is a really good show. And yeah, he put everything, he put his all into that, because a lot of the super robot cliches that Tryon 3 goes through, the sword pose, all of that, they come from Obari, and he he did his whole repertoire in this small Tryon 3 sequence in that episode. So they really did put a lot of shine on Tryon 3 in that one and only appearance. But I'm still just amazed that this happened.
Mhm.
I mean, it's and again, this is one of two. My other one has
Oh,
not.
yeah. So,
nice.
Blade Raider did make a point to ask, Don, are you getting the black version?
No, black version is not. It's not in my head worthy
Yeah, no,
of being this.
I understand, because that was not a thing that was featured in the animation, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, it was in one of the battle logs that they had, with little 20-minute battle logs.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, my friend from Trans Fandom, gets
Nobody who was born in the last 20 years even knows what trans
I
fandom
know,
is anymore,
I know.
Don.
I would
This
say
is for
nobody in
me.
the last 30 years knows what
This
Okay.
transfandom is.
His handle name is Gesku, which is from Car Ranger, I believe, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
That would be Gexo.
Gexo. Okay, thank you. I've never heard it actually pronounced.
Well,
He
that means you haven't watched Car Ranger, which means you've committed a capital sin.
Which means we have a major problem, Don.
Yeah.
But he actually took the Might Gain combination scene from Brave Express Might Gain and overlaid it to the Tryon 3 combining scene, and it was taken down by Toei in like a day. But it was glorious. It fit the Brave music, the combination, and all that. So yeah, this thing is so brave it hurts, and it's a wonderful hurt. I'm just so excited.
Rusted Cross says this seems more like a meatball sandwich to me. I could kill a good meatball sandwich right now, to be
Yeah,
honest.
that sounds nice.
Well, I'd say if you got a Subway near you, but you wanted a good meatball sandwich. So
Also, no, I don't have anything near me, Don. The nearest thing to me is a Dollar General, and I'm certainly not going. Actually, they're probably getting ready to close at this point.
Yeah. Anything else, Don?
No, that is everything I got off topic this week.
John?
I got a ton of classified. So I did get the Iron Grenadier, Bat, and Trooper, Soldier, Grenadier. And then I did get Alpine, who I opened. He's fantastic. Alpine's great. Really good goggles. The eyewear on classified toys so far is kind of a mixed bag, but he has really cool goggles. They fit good. They're clear. You can still see his eyes through them. They don't look out of scale with his face or anything like that. So they're really good. And the Storm Shadow 2, who I haven't opened yet. I did finally get around to opening the Dragonfly, and it's immense and crazy. Like, it's insanely big. I don't know. Brian, what was your impression of it when you assembled it?
Very large, but it doesn't feel quite as premium as the Hiss did.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Maybe that's because of surface area. I don't know. Something with it's just like these big kind of like green and black panels, or maybe just the nature of the Hiss. There's
there's more going on with the Hiss, I think, is what it is.
The treads and just the details.
So the Hiss feels super premium to me in the same way that the new Diaclone stuff feels super premium to me.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not like a Hot Toys like doll, that is like whatever. There's just like a ton going on with it, and that's what I like about it.
Yes, I would agree with that. I think also the Hiss is it's more compact. It's smaller. It feels smaller than certainly than the Dragonfly. So there's like more going on in less space.
Yeah,
it's like a real tight, high-end toy. But the Dragonfly is just massive.
Yeah.
It just goes on and on and on forever. The electronics, I will say, specifically the lighting inside the cockpit of the Dragonfly, really cool. So they continue to do a really good job with the paneling and the lighting that they have in these. And the four figures are really good. So the two Night Force guys, Crazy Legs and Ripcord, they're Night Force, so
It's
kind
not
of boring.
It's not my Crazy Legs. My Crazy Legs is red.
You'll get him eventually for sure. You'll get Retro. But Night Force, they're black, so they're pretty boring. But Wild Bill and Glenda, awesome.
Glenda's
Love
awesome.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's a cool package. Not quite up to his standards, I would agree with that, but it was really cool. It's really impressive, and for some reason, it changes my whole perspective on Unicron. Just because, like, unlike the Hiss, for some reason, again, the Dragonfly is just so big. It has changed my perspective on Unicron, who is still in the same. It's in the same room. He occupies the same space now as this Dragonfly, but it's almost changed.
He's still twice as large as the Dragonfly, and he was twice the price.
He doesn't seem. When we first got Unicron, it was like, this is an impossibly big toy.
Yeah.
And now what, 4 years later, 5 years later,
4.
every year we've gotten gigantic toys that are like, they're kids' toys scaled for middle-aged men.
Yeah.
It seems like the world is shrinking. So Unicron is, like, again, shrinking bit by bit in my head. But anyway, I digress. It was a very G.I. Joe centric week for me.
I want to digress for a second. I just want to get this out there. I'm not inviting conversation here, but it just feels to me like with HasLab that they might be killing the goose that lays the golden egg, but it almost feels to me like for HasLab, they should only do classified vehicles. I could live with that. And I would buy more HasLabs, but I could live with them just doing classified vehicles in HasLab. I would like that.
Can't do any more 6-inch classified vehicles. Like I might get 1 or 2, but they're like, the Dragonfly is just so big. How many more pieces that big can we get?
I want a Terradrome. I want the space shuttle complex that's like the size of my closet.
Yes, the Defiant Space Shuttle Complex scaled for 6-inch figures. Let's do that.
Yes, that would be amazing.
Diecast, you're where I'm at with Titan class Transformers. It has to be something I'm absolutely in love with, because I just don't know where to put these things.
And a pony and a Power Wheels.
Yes.
Well, John, I got a question for you. How many bats do you usually buy? I'm just curious what you think. Because
What are your troop building tendencies?
Yeah, I usually don't troop build, but I do like to have. I think you need a couple of bats.
Keep in mind, I bought about 20 bats.
Yeah. I mean, I am the person who believes in, like, odd numbers. I think if you're troop building, you get 3 minimum. But with, like, classified, like, we're up to like 150, 160 releases here by their own, like, numbering system. So I don't troop build anymore with classified.
Oh, wow.
G.I. Joe is a difficult one because you have so many troop buildable figures. Like, you don't need 20 bats, because you've also got to buy Televipers and Range Vipers and Rock Vipers and Frag Vipers and Alley Vipers. Like, yeah.
And then every subgroup has their own bats, like the Iron Grenadier bats, the Crimson bats.
The Iron Grenadier bat wasn't a thing before, was it? Yeah. So,
No,
I don't think so, no.
I don't
think the Crimson ones were either.
Yeah, so you had the Fire Bat, you had the Bat, and
Overkill.
That was your bats, like in the original, and yeah.
Like, I think there was a version 2 or version 3, but
I think the Fire Bat was the version 2, but it was red.
Because I mean, like, this guy
there was another version 2. It had like a lenticular sticker on his chest and a replaceable hand. That's the one I had.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were a good customizer, you could buy some Zeo cogs and customize them as bats if you could do that. But sure. I don't have that skill, so I just think these guys look really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Matt, what'd you get?
Nothing.
Chris?
Nope.
Rob?
I got a few things. Another Sir Gaia order. I got a few more random art books as I do, but also because I was not going to pay hundreds of dollars for any such thing. They got in stock for $35 the high grade Build Fighters Tryon 3. So I'd been meaning to grab that. So I finally have that. I'm going to build it soon, hopefully, if I can get myself together and actually sit down and do it.
Yeah. They had the clear one there for the longest time, but it was like $85 for the clear version. It's like I'll wait.
Yeah. I wasn't really interested in the clear version
Inferno Bat. Sorry, I called it the Fire Bat, which of course is the flippin' vehicle. The Inferno Bat. Sorry.
I gotcha. That's okay. But yeah, I got that. I got the books, and I also got Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake, which I got the PS5 version because just since I have a PS5, if I'm gonna bother buying a new game at full price, I feel like I should do it on the platform that gets me the best resolution and frame rate. Like, it is available for the Switch as well. I'm sure it will play and look perfectly fine on there. I just just like I paid the money for the Space Taco, I'm going to use the Space Taco. But it is really quite good. It is based very heavily on the Dragon Quest III remake for the Super Famicom. It begins with the same basically personality test questions that were introduced with that version. It also, unlike the later Dragon Quest remakes from the PlayStation 1 on forward, does not allow you to change the angle of the camera. So, it is all just it's a really pretty map. Like, they have the castles in the older Dragon Quest games were fairly generic. It was the old tile set style construction of RPGs. And this has like individual renders so that the area of Romaria, for example, looks like an Italian Renaissance castle. It's got really nice art direction, runs fairly well and fairly quickly. At the moment, the only thing that seems to be missing from the 3 remakes is the kind of like board game mini game that you could play. And I really did like that, so I'm kind of sad to see that go. Maybe they've just moved them. I haven't gotten super far in it yet. But it, again, looks good. Some of the like positive changes they have made. Now when you're creating characters to fill out your party, they give you multiple options for what the character classes can look like for each gender. So if you have, for say, for some reason, like 3 female jesters, they don't all have to look exactly the same. You can pick a bunch of different character types and hair colors, so that you've got it. You can have a unique party now, as opposed to just generic class exemplars following you around, which is nice. There's also a new class called the Monster Wrangler, and basically they combined that with the kind of like monster arena mini game that has happened in a lot of the newer Dragon Quests. And basically, the more monsters you find and recruit for that, the more powers it unlocks for the Monster Wrangler. So it's a really nice looking game. It does have voice for like major cutscenes and everything. Not every line, but like just all the major story stuff has voices. All the characters have voices, which you also get to pick in battles. And early next year, they're also going to be doing the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 remake in this style as well. They're basically going in chronological order with this, so that seems to be why. But yeah, I really like it. I'm glad I got it. I hope I hope, as much as I'm not a market analyst, I hope it does well, because Dragon Quest, I feel like, has always had a certain amount of like struggle here in North America compared to how blockbuster thing it is in Japan. So I would love to see it. Bless you, Don. I would love to see it. I would love to see it just like really take off here finally. But yeah, I really like it, and that is what I got this week.
So because I'm old, the Fire Bat, the Inferno Bat, didn't come out in the original run of G.I. Joe. It was a later internet deal, which is how I got mine, and it was based on the V2 Bat that Matt was talking about. So yeah, God, I'm old, because I remember that toy being like in my original G.I. Joe collection, but it wasn't. It was literally just a repaint of the V2 Bat. Okay. I want to thank our patrons at patreon.com/tfradio. Patrons get an ad-free version of Radio Free Cybertron each week. You get the podcast a day early. You get it at a higher bit rate. You get the complete What We Got This Week segment, including non-Transformers content. This week, there's a lot of G.I. Joe for people who aren't in the know. You get
Knowing is half the battle.
And knowing is half the battle. Thank you. You get a weekly Patreon exclusive pre-show podcast. You get unedited episodes of Radio Free Cybertron if Don drops a heavy swear or like threatens Diecast's life. That will get edited out of the show, but patrons will get that. If you're connected to our Discord through your Patreon at tfradio.net/Discord, you get a fancy red color that demonstrates that you're a very smart person and a patron and a wonderful person that we love. You get the There Goes My Money podcast a week early. Patrons at the Touch tier get to be on There Goes My Money. And Touch patrons are mentioned on the show each week and listed at tfradio.net/credits. And I'm going to do that now. I want to thank Kevin Dorsey, Daniel Scott, Jacob Owen Lucia, Sean Bratton, Emmett Stresovich, Hector Bones, Jay Klein Rye, Joey Russell, Here's Why It's Cool, Rabbits, Ryan Bona, Sean Hamilton, Sean Williamson, Spider Bob, Trickster, Nathan's Fast Talk Food Reviews, and I don't think I'm doing Get the Skinny anymore. Nathan, just as a heads up, I saw your question on Blue Sky. Unless John's in, I'm not in. And Mollis Koenig. Unless John wanted to do it, then we could talk about it.
We can talk about it.
We'll talk about it. So, again, if you want to be one of these wonderful, smart people, go to patreon.com/tfradio and sign up for the Touch tier. You can find all of our podcasts going back 25 years at tfradio.net. We're also on YouTube at Radio Free Cybertron, Facebook at facebook.com/tfradio, Instagram at instagram.com/tfpodcast, and we're still on Twitter at twitter.com/tfradio. You can find me at briankilby.com. I hope to have a new Christmas album up for 2025 here in a few weeks. I don't think I'm going to have it for the first week of December, but I will try to have it for the second week. Last week was a smaller album. I want to go back true to form and have a complete Christmas album this year. So if time permits, that's what will happen. And you can also find me at Blue Sky at kilby.bsky.social. I deleted my Twitter. So that's where you're going to find me, Blue Sky, at kilby.bsky.social. Diecast, how do people get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me on X at Diecast2, on Blue Sky at Diecast2. I've been trying to post more there. Also Facebook at Reviews by Diecast, and all my reviews on YouTube at youtube.com/RFC Reviews.
Very cool. Don. You don't feel good, Don. You look like you're feeling rough. You can be found everywhere at HMRC, the number 4 EVR. Why don't you go rest?
Okay, that's a pretty good idea. Listen, y'all guys take care of
We love you, Don.
Night.
We want you
Feel better,
healthy,
Don.
wealthy, and
Thanks,
wise.
Bye, Don.
Okay.
Bye, Al.
Bye. John.
That John D everywhere.
Everywhere, except for eBay where you're Cloudburst.
Except for eBay where I'm Cloudburst. Check it out.
Yeah. Matt.
Melvard.bsky.social. That's with 3 L's and 2 R's.
Heck yeah. Blue Sky rocks. Rob.
I'm on Blue Sky at Rob Flails, which is connected to Flail Throughs, my YouTube channel, where I have been covering Gundam games for I don't even know how many years and don't want to think about it. I've been covering the Gundam Battle Operation series since its inception. Gundam Battle Operation 2 gets updated every Wednesday night into Thursday morning, so you can get the gist of the update from me Thursday mornings at youtube.com/flailthroughs. This week is a big one. We're getting another weird Gundam from a side story manga, but they are also updating 30 older mobile suits to have new abilities, skills, weapons, etc. So that is like 3 times as many as they usually do. So I'm looking forward to seeing, what has been changed. I've also been covering Gundam Breaker 4, which is a lot of fun. I have built all kind of weird things in that. Like this last week, I did the largest and smallest possible gunpla you can build in the game. The game is apparently, I forgot you can adjust the camera on the options screen, because with the default camera, the game is practically unplayable if you make the largest thing you possibly can. I just take up most of the screen. It's great. But if you want to see all that, that's on YouTube at Flailthroughs. I also have a Patreon, patreon.com/flailthroughs. Big changes to that coming in the new year, which there will be a post about that sometime soon. But if you want to support me at the moment, you can drop a couple bucks on me and request a round in Gundam Battle Operation 2 or a build in Gundam Breaker. And I also have an Amazon wish list at tfradio.net/playlist.
Cool. Chris.
Okay. Go figure. Chris RTXV. My website where my photography and such things can be found is playwithphotography.com. My Amazon wish list, where the Bludgeon and Ruckus came from that I talked about earlier. Thanks again, Paladin. That's at tfradio.net/chrislist. That is an RFC. It's an Amazon affiliate link that benefits RFC, so we get a little bit of money if you send me something from my wish list, and it helps to keep the show going, like going to tfradio.net/Amazon does. And there's still stuff on there. This was not the extent of my wish list. There's still plenty of wacky things, like a bunch of orange shirts because I have a brand image to maintain, and there's the Star Trek Lower Decks Find Your Fate book on there now too. So that'd be fun.
I need to get that.
For me, yes.
Oh, okay, sure.
But that'll do it for me.
Cool. Rob Springer, of course, not here. He's at Rob Springer on Twitter and at zonebase.org and at zonebase.bsky.social. We will see you next week. Thank you for being here. Hey, Chris, before I hit stop.
Yeah.
Can you redo your plugs, like the first two things? You broke up really bad. I'm going to go back in and edit it.
Ooh, okay.
Like, I think your Blue Sky and then whatever else was in the first two.
Yeah. I'm also on Blue Sky. Go figure. Chris RTXV. My website where my toy photography and other such things are is playwithphotography.com. And of course, I have my Amazon wish list at tfradio.net/chrislist. And I assume you can assemble the rest around that.
Perfect. Okay. I want to hit stop.
Recording stopped.
Okay, cool. Hey, people watching live, because it's going to take me longer to shut down the live stream than normal, I'm going to just start that now. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
While you're working on that, I know Don complains about the constant stream of Batmans from McFarlane Toys, but I thought you might want to know that I found out they actually make a Batman figure based on the Jiro Kuwata Batman manga.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
That's on my wish list. I want to get that.
Cool. Twitch.
Is that in the Superpowers line?
I think it's in the multiverse line in this case.
I'm going to go ahead and drop off. Good night, guys.
Take
YouTube.
Chris.
Bye, YouTube.
Now, sadly, they also
bye guys. I'm out here too.
Bye, John.
Okay. They also make Lord Deathman, but he's as part of the Batman 66 line.